Sure, here's an original, creative, YouTube-style script, not based on any specific real episode, inspired by the title. 4 chair turns, but one coach gets blocked every time. The Voice. This is part 1, approximately 1900 words. The lights dimmed inside the massive studio as thousands of excited fans filled the audience with cheers. The iconic spinning red chairs stood proudly under the spotlight, waiting for another unforgettable blind audition. Tonight already promised incredible voices, emotional stories, and shocking decisions, but no one knew they were about to witness one of the strangest streaks in The Voice history. All 4 coaches entered the stage one by one, greeted by roaring applause. Their chemistry was playful as always, but there was one noticeable difference tonight. Coach Mason, the veteran hitmaker known for discovering powerhouse vocalists, looked unusually confident. "I've got room for one superstar," Mason smiled while pointing at the other coaches, "and I'm taking them." Coach Elena laughed. "That's what you said last season." Coach River leaned forward. "You better actually win someone tonight." The audience laughed, but Mason simply smiled. "You'll see." Host Clarkson stepped onto the stage. "Welcome to another night of blind auditions. Our coaches are ready, the artists are backstage, and tonight anything can happen." No one realized just how true those words would become. The first contestant was 23-year-old Olivia, a coffee shop singer from Seattle who had spent years performing for strangers, hoping someone would finally notice her talent. As the music began, her voice floated through the studio like silk. Within 15 seconds, click, Coach Elena turned. 5 seconds later, click, Coach River. The audience screamed louder. Then, click, Coach J. 3 chairs. Olivia reached the chorus. Without hesitation, click, Mason slammed his button. 4 chair turn. The crowd erupted. Olivia finished to a standing ovation before slowly turning toward the coaches with tears already forming. "I can't believe it." Every coach immediately began pitching. Elena spoke about artistic freedom. River promised creative performances. Jay joked about making Olivia famous enough to buy the coffee shop. Finally, Mason stood. "You remind me of the greatest vocalist I ever worked with. I know exactly how to help you win this competition." The audience nodded. It sounded convincing. Then Olivia smiled apologetically. "I'm choosing Elena." The audience exploded. Mason froze. Elena celebrated while Mason leaned back dramatically. "Okay," he laughed. "One loss. Plenty of night left." Nobody thought much about it. Not yet. Backstage, producers congratulated Olivia, while another contestant quietly watched everything unfold on a monitor. His name was Ethan, 28 years old, construction worker, never professionally trained. He adjusted his cap before walking toward the stage. "I'm not expecting 4 chairs," he admitted. "I just want one." As soon as Ethan began singing a soulful country ballad, the coaches immediately looked interested. Coach Jay smiled. River started nodding. Elena whispered, "Wow." Click. Jay turned first. Click. River. Click. Elena. 3 chairs again. Ethan hit one impossibly high note. The audience gasped. Instantly, click. Mason slammed his button. 4 chairs. Again. When the performance ended, every coach looked amazed. Jay called Ethan authentic. River praised his emotional storytelling. Elena admired his natural tone. Then Mason leaned forward. "Ethan, country music is changing. You're exactly the artist I've been searching for." Even the audience applauded. Ethan smiled nervously. "This is impossible." He looked at every coach before finally speaking. "I'm choosing..." A dramatic pause filled the room. "Jay." The crowd screamed. Mason covered his face. "No way." Jay laughed so hard he nearly fell out of his chair. "Mason's 0 for 2. The audience began chanting. "Jay, Jay, Jay." Mason jokingly pointed at Ethan. "We're not friends anymore." Everyone laughed. Backstage, Clarkson couldn't help smiling. "That's twice." The producers exchanged glances. An interesting pattern had begun. The third performer couldn't have been more different. 16-year-old Mia had never performed outside her hometown church. She walked nervously onto the stage, gripping the microphone tightly. "My hands are shaking." The lights dimmed. The piano started. Her first note stunned the entire studio. It wasn't loud. It wasn't flashy. It was pure. Within seconds, click, River. Click, Elena. Click, Jay. The audience began clapping along. Mia entered the chorus. Mason smiled confidently before pressing his button. 4 chairs. Again. 3 consecutive 4-chair turns. An incredible achievement. When Mia finished singing, she couldn't stop crying. Coach River spoke first. "You just reminded everyone why music exists." Elena promised to help her grow. Jay joked that she was already better than him. Then Mason delivered perhaps his strongest speech of the evening. "You have something that cannot be taught. I promise to protect that gift." Even Clarkson backstage whispered, "That was good." It truly was. Mia looked overwhelmed. "You've all been so kind." She paused. "I choose." The audience leaned forward. "River." The building exploded with cheers.
straight losses. Even he couldn't believe it. River stood celebrated while Mason simply stared toward the ceiling. What is happening tonight? Elena burst into laughter. You've got the worst luck. Jay couldn't resist. Maybe stop pressing your button. The audience laughed louder than ever. Backstage, social media producers immediately noticed something. #blocked Mason had already begun trending among viewers watching live. The night was becoming more entertaining than anyone expected. After the commercial break, Clarkson teased viewers. If you've just joined us, yes, Coach Mason has turned for every artist. And yes, every single one picked somebody else. Even the audience chuckled. The fourth contestant entered, 35-year-old Lutus, former firefighter, a father of 3. His emotional story touched everyone before he even started singing. I nearly lost my life during a rescue 2 years ago. Silence filled the studio. I promised myself that if I survived, I'd finally chase my dream. The guitar intro began. His voice carried both strength and heartbreak. Halfway through the first verse, click, River, click, Elena, click, Jay. The audience already suspected what would happen next. Would Mason press? He smiled, waited, looked around dramatically. The audience started laughing. Finally, slam, he hit the button. The crowd erupted before Lucas had even finished singing. 4 chairs. Again, Mason stood confidently. There, he grinned. This one's mine. The other coaches rolled their eyes. Lucas completed an emotional final note that brought half the audience to their feet. Every coach praised him. Jay highlighted his authenticity. River admired his courage. Elena praised his storytelling. Then Mason stepped onto the stage, something coaches almost never do during blind auditions. He shook Lucas's hand. I believe in you. The audience applauded loudly. Surely this would finally work. Lucas smiled. I appreciate every single one of you. He looked at Mason. You've been incredibly kind. Mason nodded. This is it. Lucas continued. But the audience immediately gasped. I'm choosing. Another pause. Elena. The studio exploded. Mason froze in disbelief. Elena screamed. River actually stood up laughing. Jay pointed dramatically across the stage. 4. The audience joined him. 4. Even Clarkson couldn't contain himself backstage. I have literally never seen anything like this. Mason returned to his chair, shaking his head. I don't understand. Producers began replaying every rejection in slow motion for the studio audience during the break. Each one somehow became funnier than the last. By now, even Mason was laughing. I promise I'm a nice person. The audience applauded, but fate apparently wasn't finished yet. Contestant number 5 was unlike anyone before. 20-year-old Zoe arrived carrying only a small ukulele. Everyone assumed she'd perform something soft and simple. Instead, she transformed the tiny instrument into a powerful pop rock performance. The audience immediately stood. Coach River turned first. Elena followed. Jay turned. Everyone looked toward Mason. He hesitated. The crowd started chanting, push it, push it. Mason smiled. You people are setting me up. He finally hit the button. 4 chairs. Again. 5 straight 4-chair turns. An almost unbelievable streak. As soon as Zoe finished singing, Jay stood immediately. I need you. River offered creativity. Elena promised vocal coaching. Finally, Mason laughed before speaking. Look, the audience already laughed. I know how tonight is gone. More laughter. But maybe, he smiled. Break the curse. Even Zoe laughed. She covered her face while trying not to smile. This is impossible. She slowly reached toward her decision button. Every camera focused on Mason. The audience became completely silent. Was this finally the moment? Would the streak finally end? Zoe took one deep breath. I choose. The lights flashed dramatically. Then, to be continued.